I spent a little time this afternoon just doing a bit of drawing prior to you coming on, just to re-familiarize myself with the subject. And one of the things that I really think is very characteristic about holly, apart from it being sharp and spiky, is the incredible movement within each leaf. No two leaves are actually identical along a branch, and they vary in size slightly, but they also, the way they grow off the stem is also really, I mean, each, if I just hold this up, you can see, I'll take my drawing out the way just for a minute. Yeah, just look at that. I mean, I'm sure if you've got some in front of you, you'll see the same thing. But this here, as it comes out of the actual stem, it's already sort of a curve. Some of them aren't, some of them are straighter, but each one is slightly different. And they do grow in a spiral around the stem, which is also very interesting. But what I thought we would do, just so that each of us would just get familiar with the shape or familiar with the form, is to take one leaf only, and you can take a tiny bit of the main branch from which it's growing if you've got one, and just draw that. Okay, and really draw it as carefully as you possibly can. Just that one leaf. I don't want you to do any more. Don't do berries. Don't do, other leaves. Just do one to see whether or not you can really get some understanding of the shape. Now, I've chosen one that isn't particularly characteristic. I mean, there's some here at the end here which are much more, you probably can't see them very well, but they are much more characteristic of the actual holly leaf. And, the way they sort of spike at the ends. But what is more important is what's going on from the actual vein itself. It's not a straight line, and it sort of goes up and then it curves and goes over. So I want you just to take one leaf and really examine it carefully and see how well you can draw it. And then I'm going to ask each of you to tell me what you've discovered. I'm not going to talk too much. I'm going to do the same as you. I'm going to take one leaf. I know I've done several here, but we'll put those to one side and I'll show you those in a minute. So I've got a fresh piece of paper here, and I'm going to do exactly the same as you. I'm just going to take one of those holly leaves and draw it carefully. Is that? I've started in the middle of the leaf, and I think that's where you should start. Don't start on the edge, because you'll get caught up with what's happening on the edge rather than looking at the whole thing.
Right.
And the other thing to be very careful of is the distance from the edge of the leaf to the center of it, i.e. from the outside point to here. So this distance between here, which will vary, because like up here at this end of my leaf, it's very narrow, whereas down here it's a bit wider.
No. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll wait for you. When you've got it in outline with the central vein suggested, will you please just stop?
I'm afraid I've started to shade in, but you can tell me off.
It's all right.
Yes, I did the shading, sorry.
It's all right. Those of you that have already started to shade in, it doesn't matter as long as you've drawn the shape well. Right, when we've got one leaf drawn, would you please put your head up so I can see? I know, okay, Prue has, Hannah has, Shelley has, Sue has, Claire has, Chris has, Jill, yeah, okay. Right, I'm going to get Lucy to spotlight you and I want you to show me what you've done. Let's start with Claire.
Where is it there?
Right.
It's that one. That one there.
Right. Okay. Okay. Go back to it, Claire.
I'm trying to, yeah. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely got the feel of it. What would you say about the shape yourself?
I think the shape's still a bit confusing because without the shading, I think it's quite hard to see quite what it is.
Yeah, because it sort of
So twisty.
it's twisting. It's got a highly almost polished surface, hasn't it? You know, it picks up the light really strongly, I think. So when it's just a linear shape, you don't get a sense of the light and dark on it at all. But you do, if it's a one linear shape, you do get the sense of, is that flat head on to you, or is it slightly turned? That's what you want to ask yourself. If it's slightly turned, then you're going to get a little bit of foreshortening. In other words, one side possibly you're going to see less of than the other.
Yeah.
Do another one, Claire. You can go back to that one, do another one, and just do it in outline and really look at, I mean, I think even this could come in a bit more here. But this edge here is definitely the shorter side, and I can see more of that one. I need to nip this one in a wee bit more than I have done. But I think if you can really get a sense of the actual movement, you know, of what's going on, it's really, it's very characteristic of them, you know, that they have got this sort of twist within the form itself. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Right, so have another go. Yes.
Okay, so the difficulty I've got, the precise difficulty I've got here is that the line of the return of the pointy bit is exactly in line with the central vein. I mean, obviously what it is that the upper part of the outline just happens, from my sight line, happens to be in the same place as the vein.
Yeah.
It's happening behind that one there that's sticking up.
Right. Now, what I came across that this afternoon, and what I did was I drew it in as if the end was made of glass so I could see it.
Yeah.
So do the central vein and continue it as if it was there.
Yeah.
And then go back and do the end bit.
Yes, but what I like about it is the contours feel, the outside edges, they feel like a ski slope.
Yeah.
Because you sort of go down a steep bit and then there's a convex curve, and then it's very subtly changes into a concave curve.
Yes.
It's very, very dynamic.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing to draw, I think. And just show you the one I did this afternoon. This one I deliberately left in outline. It's got a little bit of something folding over at the back here. And this one was really narrow, and then it sort of twisted over at the top. This one's wider because it's different position. I decided I would try out a couple of medium. I would try out my fine liner. I've got a brown fine liner, and the pencil. The pencil is easier in terms of you can obviously shade it. You can lift out bits with a rubber. You can weight up bits of line here and there, which I think one or two of you are already discovering. So you can make some of the edges much darker and weight them up a bit in places, and then leave others like here. You can see on this one I've done the double line. I'm sorry, I cannot get in any closer than I have. I don't think. No, that's it. But I've actually done a double line on this edge here, here, and here. So it's probably quite hard for you to see. I've also done it here, a double line. And remember, the central vein, as I said, is not just a straight line. It follows the movement of the actual leaf itself. So that's, in a way, why I suggest you start with the skeleton, the main central vein, and push in one or two of you may not even be able to see the other veins, but the veins that are there on mine are actually following the curve of the leaf as it turns over. So it's quite useful to, what I mean is, you know, to actually put those sort of lines in, you know, the lines of the veins and what they're doing, because they're helping to indicate that what's going on with the leaf itself. And I'll talk more about these in a minute, but just carry on for now.